Hi, I'm Phil Tuttle, and I'm thrilled to welcome you to this session of Walk Through Voices. You know, one of my favorite chapters in all the Bible, certainly in the Gospels, but maybe even in all the Scripture, is John 21. And as we go into November and we start thinking about things we're thankful for, I am thankful for the story in this passage because it just brings me great encouragement of how God relates to us. The story really is set that Peter has denied Jesus, not just once, but 3 times. He said, everybody else may deny you, but I never will. But when the pressure was on 3 times, Simon Peter says, I don't even know this man. And I can only imagine how dejected Simon Peter must have been. Have you failed Jesus in different ways? Have you let not just yourself down, but God down? I think if we're honest, we'd have to say, absolutely I have. I know I've done that multiple times, sometimes in big ways, many times in smaller ways, but even those are significant. And I relate to how Simon Peter must have felt. John 21 records Jesus appearing to some of his disciples. He's made several appearances, but Simon Peter wasn't there. And there's a really telling statement where it says, "Go tell my disciples and Peter." I don't think that means Jesus wrote Peter off as a disciple, a follower, a close friend. I think that was a commentary on how Simon Peter felt about it. And so this time, the story focuses on Simon Peter and Jesus' restoration of him after Simon Peter's just miserable failure. Simon Peter says, I'm going fishing. I'm going back maybe to my old life as a lifestyle, or maybe I just need a break. We really don't know for sure. But the fact that Jesus says, go tell my disciples and Peter, I think Peter's returning to his old life. And some of his friends, some of the other disciples go, we'll go with you. And the Bible tells us in John 21, all night long, they caught nothing. My son loves to fish, and like any true fisherman, there's 3 things my son hates. The first is to catch nothing, because the problem with nothing is you can't exaggerate nothing. You can't go, well, didn't do quite as well as we expected, but at least we didn't get skunked. You got skunked. You can't double or triple nothing, it's still nothing. That night they caught nothing. Second thing true fishermen hate is then somebody to ask you, how'd you do? And this time, that's exactly what happens. Jesus yells from the shore and he goes, you catch anything? And really it's phrased more like, you didn't catch anything, did you? And they have to go, no. The third thing we hate is then for somebody to tell us what we should have done differently. And indeed, Jesus does that too. He's like, cast your nets on the other side, which to me is so funny. I mean, fish are mobile. Can they not swim the 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 feet from one side of the boat to the other? Is this really going to make a big difference? And yet they do it. If this story sounds familiar, it's because it's very similar to when Jesus first met Simon Peter. And a lot of times that's what happens when I let Jesus down or when you do. He takes us back to where we began with him. And in this case, it's almost a replay of that first scene in just about the same place on the Sea of Galilee. Well, the Bible tells us in John 21 that they made a great catch of fish. In fact, they counted them, 153. They don't round it off. They don't go more than a netful, 153. This is history making. And then he says, bring some of the fish you just caught. Now, in between there, John recognizes that it's Jesus. Simon Peter jumps out of the boat. I think he thinks he's just going to walk on the water right across. The other disciples bring the fish in, and Jesus goes, bring some of the fish that you just caught. Isn't it interesting, though, that Scripture tells us he already has fish on the grill? In fact, the word that's used is a word, maybe in your translation, charcoal fire or fire of burning coals. There's only one other time in Scripture, and it's earlier in Simon Peter's story, when this word is used. When they're warming their hands by the fire, it's the same place Simon Peter has denied Jesus. Jesus chooses, I think, purposefully, because scientists tell us the sense of smell is the most powerful sense for triggering memories. He chooses this location, this process, even this sensory input to take Simon Peter back to when he met Jesus and when he failed Jesus. And they recognize Jesus, they share this wonderful meal, but I don't think Simon Peter even enjoyed the food one little bit. I bet he didn't make eye contact much during that meal. I know I want to get far from the Lord when I've let him down. I want to isolate myself, not just from God, but from other believers. We pick up the story, and this part I pretty much just want to read to you. It doesn't need much commentary. When they'd finished breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" Is the these the other disciples? Is the these the equipment of his fishing lifestyle? We don't know. He said to him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." He said, "Then feed my lambs." He said to him a second time, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter responded, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." He said to him, "Tend my sheep." He said to him a third time, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was grieved because he said to him the third time, "Do you love me?" And he said to him, "Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you." Jesus said to him, "Then feed my sheep. Truly, truly, I say to you, when you were young, you used to dress yourself, walk wherever you wanted, but when you are old, you will stretch out your hands, and another will dress you and carry you where you do not want to go." This he said to show by what kind of death he was to glorify God. And after saying this, he said to him, "Follow me." The invitation of Jesus, not just to Simon Peter, but to me and to you, is even after we've let him down, even after we've failed miserably. It's not a coincidence in the story that 3 times Jesus asked, "Do you love me?" I think that is to completely erase the triple denial of Simon Peter. And this is one of the things I'm so thankful for this season, that we have a God who's full of second chances and new beginnings. He's a God who longs to restore us to a right relationship where we enjoy our connection with him. And if you need that as much as I need that from time to time, then this story just might become one of your favorites too. Below in the details of this, I preached a full-length message a few weeks ago when I was at Dallas Seminary, my alma mater, and they have sent this out to a lot of people. They've put it up on YouTube. If you want to dig deeper into this, that's there. But even just in the quick telling of the story is the encouragement that Jesus says the bottom line is, do you love me? If so, despite your mistakes, despite your failures, I still have a way for you to serve me. Be encouraged by that today, and we'll see you next time together on Walk Through Voices.